Good evening, and welcome to the Night Owl. If you're new here, this is the other side of the Bird Brain podcast where the things that go bump in the night have a little bit more freedom to roam and stretch their legs. But I must warn you, content may contain adult language and scenarios that may not be suitable for all audience members, so listeners' discretion is always advised. They say when we are in relationship with someone else, over time, we don't just grow old together, but there might be more things that we learn about one another that we may not have recognized before. So lock your doors, check your windows, and get comfortable because you won't be sleeping tonight. I give you happy anniversary. I missed my anniversary intentionally. Everything has been great. We have great communication. We spend an awful amount of time together while still maintaining our relationships outside of one another. And these days, I think that's important. I have my friends, she has hers, and we have mutuals. There's so much to say about how great our relationship has been, and very little about the bad. She travels a lot for work because she's a bigwig. I like to think that she's like a secret agent. You'd say I'm lucky. She shows up for me, I show up for her, and we just get through life. My parents weren't around, but they left me a pretty solid inheritance where I was able to focus on getting my PhD and just work remotely. She constantly likes to remind me of when we first met, and I have a rather good memory, but I guess there is a lot I missed or just didn't catch. But these seem like big things that I would know, that I should know. Like our favorite dinner spot, our first date, even when we got married. But the way I remember it and what she tells me are very different. I smell gas. I jokingly say to her to signal that I feel like she's gaslighting me. How can you not remember these things? Maybe you're just getting old. She would say that and stare off into the distance for dramatic effect. I'm 32, by the way, so retirement isn't on the horizon. But that was our humor. That was our relationship. But yeah, I did miss our anniversary. Well, one of them. But I have my reasons. I had an accident that caused some head trauma and had to take a while to get back into the groove. It knocked a couple of things around upstairs, so I guess my memory suffered a little. I relied on her and my support system heavily because for a time I hadn't been sure about much. I'd been grateful for her support and our friends because it seemed I'd been missing a lot of very important things. I didn't have the heart to tell some of them. I had no idea who they were or even how we met. I guess it was that bad. I found myself getting frustrated because how the hell could I not know any of this? My best friends? I'd been out of work for a while on disability, so just been putting the pieces back together. You know, sometimes I wasn't always sure of our relationship entirely. But I chalked it up to fear, of course. One day I decided to take some time away from my place because I was getting stir crazy. I skipped town and I just hung out there for a couple of days. She wasn't coming back for a couple of days, so it was all good. I popped into this coffee shop in a small town. It seemed familiar to me, but I couldn't understand why. "Hey man," I heard someone say as they sat down next to me. "It's Ben." Ben? Why that name sounds so familiar? And why did he feel like home? "How's life been, man? How's the marriage?" "Good," I responded, but something on his face seemed a little uneasy. "My mom asked about you just the other day. She misses you. She misses us raising hell in the house." "Hell, I miss you too, man." We talked for a little, and as he talked, I remembered my wife always saying how Ben was no good, or she'd say certain things like, "Ben seems a little weird, don't you think? Maybe he's envious of you." But the Ben that was sitting in front of me didn't give any of that. It felt more like my brother was sitting across from me, and I couldn't remember the face. I told him I had an accident, so things have been foggy. His face went pale, but he said to me, "Hey, if you ever need anything, I'm not far. Ever." Ben was pretty high up in law enforcement and very decorated. Nothing of what she said. As I returned home, I got a message from him. "Glad to see you again, brother." He sent me a picture from us in high school, and that's when it all hit me. I walked around my house for a little, trying to understand everything. My wife left things in absolute chaos, so I decided to clean up. And as I was putting things away, I saw a folder hanging out. X-rays of my head, but also notes. He's still foggy, but I feel like he's coming to understand more. We've been doing our best to reframe his mind, though. We've cut all ties with his former relationships and family. There was also a copy of my inheritance. How'd she even get that? I texted Ben everything and went back to town. Home. The night of our anniversary, she texted me. I didn't respond. I didn't respond because I realized I'd been with someone who was going to kill me. The night was no anniversary. It was my funeral. So there you have it. Stay tuned for another story to keep you up at night. And if you like what you listen to on this podcast, please leave a review and rating. Let other people know what you love so much about this podcast and what it does well. We're coming up on our 6-year anniversary, and that's a big deal. And I think I got some pretty cool things in store for you. But in the meantime, please take care of yourselves. Please take care of each other. And thank you all who take care of this space. You're kind, respectful, and you do appreciate the work that it takes to do what I do. With that being said, sleep tight.